Shah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Raka'akwa. To the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom to you, Akiman, doing the work and sincerity. Khan, getting right into it. This title is going to be wars. This is going to be focusing on wars. Really World War III, which is to come. But I want to speak about wars because why is war such an important topic? Why is the word war? It's only 3 letters, but it's such a big word. Same with the word woe. Because it causes mass destruction. War leaves a foot trail of history, man. War. There's the only good that comes out of war is, the one that comes out on top. Because there's so much destruction. But war is nothing new, and it's far from old. We got the biggest world war yet to come. And guess what? We're in 2025. We still talk about wars that happened in the Bible. So that goes to show you the significance of war. And different wars within wars. That's how complicated and tricky and serious that war is, because you got wars and wars within wars of other wars, and it get critical. Women get involved, children start dying. Men are passing out, villages are burning, ransacked. A new name is given unto the town, a new image. These things that the Bible, lets us know of. That's why the Bible lets us know and warns us of these different things to come, because the Lord knows how bad and catastrophic it's going to be, but only the elect is going to hear. But that's why this word is only for the elect, because the Lord ain't talking and speaking for his health. Although we out there, throughout the highways and byways, on these different platforms, on social media, end of the day, this is only for the elect. This is so those of the world, 2/3 of our people, could be marked for destruction. So there will be no excuses for their sins. Because they're not repentful, they're not thoughtful, they're not remorseful, no morals. Everyone's willing to sell their morals for a penny, man. What the scriptures tell you about trading your soul for goods, it's not worth it. Matthew 24 verse 7, verse 6, verse 5, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Hamashiach Yahushai, and shall deceive many. I'm Jesus Christ. I'm King Solomon. You see this on the highways and byways. And a motherfucker that's bugged out, a motherfucker that's on drugs, a motherfucker that's desperate, vulnerable, they're going to fall for these things. A motherfucker that's in the world, So, the people that are of the world and that are smarter, there's going to be a bigger demon that the Lord is going to suck them into, The Lord speaks about how he will play on the minds of these people and give them derisions and delusions. So it's... The scriptures speak about how, how a man fleeth from a bear and a lion met him. So there's really no escape of these judgments which the Lord has prepared for everyone. Anyone that escapes any judgment that's to come, when I say escape, I mean that in quotations, like sarcasm. That judgment was never meant for you, because the scriptures speak about in Deuteronomy how they fall in the hand of the Lord. 31:29. Nope, that's not it. I think he says the wicked fall into the hand of the Lord. Bear with me, Baba Kusha. I want to get the specific scriptures. It's one of my favorite ones. Damn, how does it go? I haven't brought this out in a while. It says fall into hands. Oh, Hebrews, Salakia, 10:31. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living power. That's right, man. It doesn't say the living power chases you, and it is a fearful thing to hide from the living power. It is a fearful thing to put the living power on a high-speed chase, on a 5-star run. It is a fearful thing to fall into the hands of the living God. So your judgment is, what's the word? At an approximate time. Judgment is ordained, man. Judgment is called for. Judgment is not by mistake or, I'm tired of this. The Lord keeps checks and tallies and runs out of patience. Of course, he has great bowels of mercy, like the scripture says, and so forth and so on. But he's not passive. You get ass whoopings from the Lord, absolutely. Why do you think there's judgment every morning? You know, the heathen getting judged in a certain way. You know, Jake, they getting judged because, you know, they not following the laws, and the heathen, they getting judged for, you know, being heathen. But also, you know, affording an affliction unto, you know, Jake, and so forth and so on. We know what the heathen do, man. We'll be here all day discussing the heathen, man. From Ham to Esau to Elam to Ishmael to Moab to Ammon. They all wicked. They all wicked. Wicked. In one way or another. Yeah, you got the Ishmaelites. Yeah, they pray 7 days a week. They don't eat pork. 7 times a day. They don't eat pork. That's all good and dandy. You know, they don't, you know, they follow a lot of laws of the Bible per se, you know, but at the end of the day, you know, they're going off on the first law, you know, to not trust in any other gods, you know. So, boom. Verse 6, ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, for the end is not yet. So the Lord reminds us that we're going to hear of these rumors of wars, you know, for time and time. But yet, what do we know? We know that the MOTB must come to pass first, and then everything else going to fall suit, you know. So we know that this is real, you know, and we preparing for it, you know, through the fear of the Lord. You know, we persuade men. This is our way of persuasion. As we preparing and persuading people, you know, we really ultimately ensuring ourselves, you know, because we practicing what we trying to practice what we preach. So therefore, if I'm out there, you know, telling you about the fear of the Lord, you know, I'm increasing my fear and my understanding. You know, as I'm speaking to you, you may not comprehend that, you know, but you know, the Lord works on the human mind and spirit, you know, in a beautiful way. Once you start unlocking different I don't want to say spiritual power, make it sound like I'm on a level or something, but you know, but I'm sure brothers can understand, you know, as you teaching someone something or you speaking and you feel yourself increasing, you know, it's like you teaching yourself as you teaching the person. It's like it's not even you speaking, you know. We know how that goes when the spirit jump on you and you start teaching on point about things you wasn't sure you even know about, and you know, the spirit just start working. I brought to Zah, that made sense, and the brother didn't take that and twist it and make me sound like I'm bugged out. Verse 7, for nation shall rise against nation, Ukraine, Russia, Israel, Palestine, America versus everybody. Kingdom against kingdom. Hey, the average kingdom lasts 250 years. America, you know, your time is up, man. It's over. America's about 249 years old. There shall be famines, pestilences, and earthquakes in diverse places. So the brothers in Iowa, Des Moines, they were the first ones I heard, you know, to bring this out, the word polycrisis, you know, where you got the word crisis, which is obviously not a good thing, and then poly, that means many. So that's, you know, crisis within crisis. We all know that sounds like a headache, man. We all know how it feels to be down and then another thing comes down and punches you, man. You know, so that's what's coming to pass, man. These are the times we're in, you know, these different wars. There's a reason that the Lord harps on this word war. There's a reason that the Bible speaks about war. There's a reason why the world is harped around wars. There's a reason why every day, you know, 24/7 hours a day, 365 days a year, you know, you have different military branches working. Some people don't take, not some people, military branches don't take off. Surveillance, missile defense systems, spies, you know, these different, you know, intels, they don't take off. How could they take off? Why would they take off? For one, they're making money. For two, they're ensuring protection. And then for three, they're gaining ground. You know, they're taking over other places and cities and states. So, you know, and then you got war on the spiritual level, which is coming to pass, man. It speaks about that in the book of Joel, man, how the angels are going to fight with Esau, Edom, and the heathens, you know, with Yahweh Shai, you know, right next to them. You know, so it's about to go down. And we in a war right now with our flesh and our spirit. That's one of the biggest wars until World War III, man. If not the biggest war, you know, is your flesh and your spirit, man. You know, fighting, you know, for that crown, fighting until the end. Doing what the Lord, you know, asks of us, man. So with that, to the next one. Shalom.